They're the two little baby bottle calves. They're still alive. I know I haven't shown y'all what they've been up to for the last week, but they're doing okay. Starting yesterday, I put them out on the grass. So the first week or two that they were here, I put them on a bottle. Or about the first week, I guess they've been here for about a week. I put them on a bottle and some calf pellets. And when they started eating the calf pellets, and they just come running to me, and so they acknowledge that I give them milk. And so at this point in time, even right now, if I show up with a bottle, they'll just run up to me and they'll ask for the bottle. And so I let them out on the grass, and they're actually eating the grass. So, I had visually confirmed that they were eating calf pellets for about 3 days before I let them out on the grass. And I let them out on the grass yesterday, and they're eating the grass just fine too. And you can take a look at the rest of the herd. They're not freaking out or anything. Everyone's doing okay. The two calves that were bawling yesterday, they're doing just fine. And that's the animal right there that was sick. When I brought him home 2 days ago, he was sick. But yesterday, I did visually confirm that he is eating the hay and the calf pellets, and he is also eating grass. So as of right now, he does look like he's getting better. I would say that he's on the up and up. I would say he's gonna be just fine in about 2 or 3 days. I gave him the antibiotics about a day and a half ago. I gave him the antibiotics at 10 p.m. 2 days ago, and so it's 10 in the morning. Well, it's not 10 in the morning, but it's close enough to where it doesn't. It's been 35 hours, okay, since I gave him the antibiotics, just about, and he's doing just fine. By about within 2 or 3 days, you won't even know that anything was wrong with them. And so yep, these are the front yard cattle. They're sitting on the grass right now. They're all eating grass. I don't have any calves freaking out. Maybe later today I'll give them their shots. I'll give them all their vaccinations. I'll get them all squared away and ready to go. And well, okay, so I think that what the thing happened to me was that, when like you start running a race, this is a very good example. Let's say you're running a marathon, and when you start running that marathon, you go, okay, I need to do this, I need to go this distance, I'm gonna pace myself at this pace, especially if it's like you're running a serious marathon, right? Like you are going to take this marathon seriously. You're like, okay, I'm gonna run, I need to go this way, I need to pace myself at, I need to go, for, A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z. You will list out the variables for the marathon. But when the marathon starts, you're not going to start counting your steps, right? And I think that's the same thing that happened with me. Was that, over these past few months, I've just been, I've just been working, right? I've just kept my head down and I've just worked. That's the only thing that I've done. And so yesterday I actually took a look, and I was like, oh man, like I'm fine. I was like, yesterday, is it Sunday? Is it Monday? I couldn't remember exactly what day it was, but today's Monday, and in 5 days I will start taking animals to market. I'm already there. I've been talking about this I've been planning this out for a long time, right? And so the big idea plan is that I'm going to take 8 animals to market a month. And, my goal is to make about $3,000 a month. But right now, I would say I'm going to make about $4,000. I would say that I'm probably going to do about $50,000 a year in terms of net profit. That's probably about what I'm going to do. And I realized it yesterday. I was like, oh, dang, like I'm already around the corner, right? I'm already around the corner. If I just go this last little bit of a ways, I'm already there. I didn't even realize what was going on. But it's been months. I mean, it's already been months, right? And so, my animals are ready for market. I have animals that are ready for market in the back. I got 3 animals that are going to be going to market this weekend. I've got several animals that are right behind them. I'll have another 4 animals ready to go market in here in about 3 weeks. And this is what the grass looks like. And as I start taking my bigger animals to market, I'm going to be plowing up my fields and replanting my crop. This morning it was 34 degrees. It is 34 degrees, and so the soil temperature needs to be over 55 for me to plant a spring crop. If the soil temperature drops under 55, the grass is going to grow. The crop is going to grow so slowly that I may as well just keep this janky grass on it. And so right now it's 34 degrees in the morning. It's 34 degrees right now. It was 34 degrees a few hours ago. It's starting to warm up now that the sun's up. And so it's still a little bit too early to plant a spring crop. My grass is still semi-okay. If I believe that I need to increase the feed qualities of my grass at this point, I can still I can still fertilize it, because if you look at the flag leaves, if we go around and look at the flag leaves, you will see that there is a flag leaf on the plant, but there isn't any signs of a seed head yet. And so if I go around the field and I take a look at the grass, you know, it's real easy to find a flag leaf, because the flag leaf, they'll just be sticking up in the air like this, right? They call it a flag leaf for a reason, and because it looks like a flagpole. And so when I go around my field and I look at my flag leaves and I look at my grass, you can see that all over the place I got flag leaves, but there aren't any seeds on it, right? There aren't any seeds on it. And so this grass is still in its borderline late vegetative, early flowering development of stage. And so as long as the grass has not started to put on seed, as of this point in time, the grass is still okay. And if the grass, if I look at the animal's manure, you know, I always say that the big way that I check the digestibility of my animal feed, if I want to check the quality of my animal feed, a good way to do it is, number one, you can measure the animal. You can measure the animal for its weight. You can walk up to the animal and wrap a tape measure around its chest. You can wrap a tape measure around its chest, or you can, and then you can take the measurement from the front arm to the back to the butt of the animal. And you can use a formula on the internet to calculate the weight of the animal, and then see if your animal's putting on weight. Okay, and I've said this one time. I'm pretty sure I've said this a couple times in the past too. But if you want your animals to condition, right? If you want your animals to condition, and what I mean by conditioning is by putting on fat, right? If you want your animals to properly put on fat, you're gonna need to put about a minimum of 3 pounds a day on the animal. At about 3 pounds a day, you know, you're gonna want to put about 3 pounds a day on the animal. If you put on about 2 1/4, depending on the frame size of the animal, if you put on about 2 1/4 a day, you'll just grow the frame of the animal. So if you have an animal that's at a body conditioning score of 5, let's say it's 200 pounds. If it's 200 pounds and you're putting on about 2 1/4 pounds a day on the animal, you'll just have a body conditioning score 5 animal until it's as it grows, right? But so like at 350 pounds, it will still be at a body conditioning score 5. At as the animal grows, it will just continue to be a body conditioning score 5. But I said that the big idea of my farm is to produce animals that are at a body conditioning score of 6 to 7, right? And to get a body conditioning score of 6 to 7 for most animals, granted that there are some very large frame animals and they may need to put on more weight more rapidly to become obese. For a majority of animals, they need to put on a minimum of 3 pounds a day. They need to put on a minimum of 3 pounds a day to start conditioning. And what I mean by conditioning is that, the body conditioning score will increase as they grow. And so they'll go from a body conditioning score of 5 to a 6 to a 7 as they get larger, right? And so like these animals right here, if I want them at a body conditioning score of 6 to 7 by the time that they're 700 pounds, and I look at this animal right here and I say, okay, this animal right here, maybe a body conditioning score of 4.5. When I brought this animal in, he was like a body conditioning score of 3. He was a real janky looking calf. His fur was falling out. His fur was falling out. He was hardly eating anything. I gave him a shot of Zactran. I put him on a total mixed ration, and he's been here for like 3 weeks, and he's at a body conditioning score of about maybe about 4 or 4.5 or so. He's still not you can see that his muscling in his back leg still has yet to develop, and so he still needs to put on weight, but he is improving. When I brought this animal home, he was a very janky little animal. His fur was falling out. I mean, he was bone thin. He wouldn't eat anything. I had to put him up in a pen by himself. I gave him a shot of Zactran, and then I gave him a total mixed ration. And I gave him a total mixed ration just by himself. That's the animal that I had penned up by himself. That's him right there. I had him penned up by himself for several weeks, and while he was in there, I gave him a total mixed ration. I gave him a measured diet. I checked his manure every single day, and but now he's doing better, and he's eating just fine. And so he's doing okay. He's doing a lot better. I would say his body conditioning score is improving, but it's going to take more time, right? It's going to take more time. If I want to get to him, if I want to get him to a 6 or a 7 body conditioning score, it's going to take me like another like 6-7 months. Honestly, when I brought him in, he was just so thin. He was bone thin. He wasn't eating hardly anything, and you know, but he's doing okay now. And so the rest of the animals, they're doing all right. I got the 2 little bottle calves. And you know, these animals, if they put on about 2.25, 2.5 pounds a day, they will just be a body conditioning score of 5 into infinity and beyond. So if they're 500 pounds, you know, you can take a tape measure and you can walk out and you can measure your animals on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. I did it on a weekly basis. I measured my animals once a week. I don't really see the point of measuring the animal every day, because it's not like if you measure the animal one day and then you measure the animal the next day, you're only going to get an estimate. So it's not going to be like, oh man, my calf put on 2.5 pounds, right? I mean, you're not like a human scale. And so me, I'm not a human scale. I measured them once a week, because if I measured them once a week, they should be steadily putting on about 20 pounds a week. They should be putting on about 20 pounds a week. And so you know, that's how I started. When I first started, I measured my animals every week. I had 4 or 5 animals that would allow me to just walk up to them and just wrap a tape measure around them, and they wouldn't run away. And so I just went ahead and did it, and I measured them every single week, and that's what I found. And it's this is also information that you can verify on the internet. A lot of people say this as well. You know, their numbers might be plus or minus 5-10%, but who really cares, right? I've always said that, you know, if you at least have a ballpark idea of what you're doing and you're objectively on the right path, that's the big goal, right? And so it does not matter that your plan does not work out to be 99% correct. Even if your plan only works out to be 70% correct, next week you can always take the test again, right? I said you can take the test as many times as you want. Nobody's stopping you from taking the test. You can take it as many times as you want. If you want to take it 50 times in one day, you can. I mean, that's the difference between reality and school, right? I mean, it doesn't really matter if you get a 70 in real life. That's perfectly that's fantastic, right? Always acknowledge the things you've done. Oh man, I got a 70. Even if you only get one thing correct, if you only get a 5, oh man, I got a 5. That is, you know, I'm doing freaking awesome, right? Always acknowledge the things you're doing correct. I've always said that too, right? And so from what I have found in the information that you can verify on the internet yourself, if you put on about 2.25, 2.5 pounds a day on an animal, they will just stay at the same body conditioning score, but their frame will grow over the length of time. And so if you have a body conditioning score 5 animal that's 250 pounds and it's putting on, or it's about 350 pounds, and you're putting on about 2.25 pounds a day, you're putting about 75 pounds 75 pounds a month on the animal. When the animal's at you know, 500, 600, 700 pounds, it will still be at a body conditioning score of 5. You know, granted that when the animal gets super large, that may change. The number may change. It may be 3, because I've always said that the conditioning score is in relation to the frame size of the animal. So if you got an animal with a giant old frame, it's, you know, 1.5 years old, it's got a giant frame, you know, you may need to put like 3 pounds a day on the animal for it to grow its frame properly. But when the animals are this size, when the stocker calves are this size, if you put on about 3 pounds a day over a long period of time, if you put on about 90 to 100 pounds on the animal, over 5-6 months, you will improve the body conditioning score of the animal at roughly, you know, like this animal right here. This is a very good example. This is probably about a 275 pound, 300 pound body conditioning score animal. Here in about, I would say in about 5 months, if he keeps putting on weight the way he does, here in about 5 months, he'll be about 750 pounds, and he'll be at a body conditioning score of about 6 or 7. That you know, that's a very good example right there. The rest of the animals, you can take a look at them. They're small, but they're still at a body conditioning score of roughly 5, right? But it's real hard to get a super small animal extremely obese. It's very difficult. Like if you have an animal that's this size, genetically, you know, genetically they will need to be predisposed to being more, you know, to being obese, right? They will need to have a very, very, very large. They will need to be very tall, very large. I mean, they will need to have big old bodies. They would need to be born very, very, very large, right? I mean, they would need to be like, you know, very tall. I mean, their hips would need to be extremely wide. I mean, they would need to have been born to be predisposed to being to having the characteristics of being obese, right? It's very difficult to get a calf this small obese. I mean, people are able to do it. I mean, and most of the time when they do it, they're doing it by leaving the calf on the mama. If you leave the calf on the mama and feed it a total mixed ration, it will and you take care of the mother cow properly, the cow will, the little calf will start developing blubber. You know, I've always said that if you go to the sale barn, once you know how to see these things, every once in a while you'll see these calves. Well, you see them all the time. I got them all over the place here too. You know, these new calves that I brought in, these black calves that I brought in, that one right there and that one right there, they got blubber on them. You know, they got blubber on them, and that blubber's gonna shrink. And a lot of people, they'll take the calf directly off the mama and take them to the sale barn because you know. But I don't think people should do this. They'll do that because if the calf still has the blubber weight on them, it'll make them heavier. They'll have a lot of water weight on them because they're drinking a lot of milk, and that milk has a lot of water in it, and so that blubber will push the scales harder. They'll push the scales harder if they got a lot of blubber on them, but it puts a lot of stress on the animal, and you're gonna get deducted, right? Like people, you know, people, you're gonna get. I mean, you can't hide in the tall grass. That's what I've always said, right? Like if your animal's got blubber on it, everybody's gonna know, right? Like I'm gonna know. There, you know, the person's auctioning your cattle is gonna know. It only takes 3 seconds, right? It don't even take 3 seconds. You just take a look at the animal and go, oh yeah, this animal's got blubber on it, right? The animal's got blubber on it. Deduction, right? I mean, you're gonna get a deduction. You're better off just weaning your calf. You're better off just weaning your calf. If you can, just give it a shot of vaccinations. You know, you're better off just weaning your calf because you'll get more per pound. You can put it on a total mixed ration, and if you put it on a proper total mixed ration, even though it's losing the blubber weight, you will still, you know, the calf will still be putting on weight, you know, fast enough to where you won't lose money from losing the blubber weight, right? I mean, if you pen the calf up and wean it properly, and you put it on a total mixed ration, it's not gonna, you know, it may lose the blubber weight, but it will put on weight, you know, by eating the total mixed ration, and then you can recoup your losses, right? And it's a lot less stressful on the animal because if you rip a calf, if you rip a calf off its mama and immediately take it to the sale barn, it's gonna freak out, right? It's gonna freak out. I mean, it's gonna, you know, it's gonna freak out, and then, you know. And then, you know, I've always said, people, if you sell somebody your problems, they're not just going to charge you the amount of money that it's going to cost to fix the problem, right? They're also going to charge you for the time and the effort. And so overall, if you got a calf that's, you know, that you want to sell, you're better off just putting it on a total mixed ration. It's only going to cost you like 20 bucks. It's going to cost you 20 bucks, maybe, you know, maybe 30 bucks. You can go buy a bag of calf feed and buy a square of some Bermuda, some high quality Bermuda hay. Just mix this stuff together. You know, 2 parts Bermuda hay, 1 part calf pellets, or 1 part to 1 part, whatever you want to do, or whatever your solution may be. If you got a better solution, just go and do it yourself, right? Or, you know, whatever you want, and then just you know, wean the calf yourself. And if it's eating a proper diet as it's being weaned, it will recoup the fat that it's losing from the blubber being lost, right? The milk fat that it's losing, it'll recoup that, and you'll get paid more. You know, if you really want to take it up, you know, if you really want to, you know, take it upon yourself to do the good thing for the animal, you know, give it a shot of a vaccination. But I mean, actually, I would actually, well, I mean, it's up to you. Like, if I knew somebody and they were gonna sell me their calves, I would actually ask them to, if they vaccinated them. Well, here's the thing about me is that I've had a a lot of people, I've always said, a lot of people, they will lie for anything, right? They will lie, cheat, steal for $20, right? Oh my God, I think I can steal $20 off of this guy, whatever which way they can do it. Oh man, you know, I think I can sneak one over this guy and steal $20 off of him. Oh man, I'm gonna sell myself for $50, right? So me, you know, I do all the work for my animals by myself, everything into infinity beyond. If you tell me you've done something for your animal, I'm just not gonna believe you. I'm gonna just do it myself. I'm gonna give all my animals their shots by myself. I'm gonna check them all to, you know, to see if they're castrated. You know, I'm gonna check every last animal. You know, I'm gonna castrate them myself. I'm gonna give them all their shots myself. If somebody, you know, if somebody tells me they've done something, I mean, that's fantastic. I still don't believe you. I honestly don't. I'm just gonna do everything by myself. Everything, I'm gonna do it by myself. It does not matter, right? You know, and maybe one day maybe I'll, you know, if it gets to be too much and it's like, oh my God, you know, I got so much going on, you know, I'm working balls to the wall 24 hours a day and I still can't do everything, then I'll hire a veterinarian, right? I'll hire a veterinarian, or I'll, you know, pay him, you know, whatever, you know, you know, I'll pay them their fee, right? They charge like $20 an animal to, you know, they charge like $25 an animal or something like that to give them a vaccination shot and to castrate them. And if I need an extra set of hands, I'll hire a veterinarian for a day. I'll do what I can, and then let the veterinarian do the rest of them, and whatever it may be, you know, I'll do something like that. But if somebody tells me, unless I have like a very, 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 very good reason to believe you, I will not believe you, right? I just won't. I'll just do everything by myself. And if you know that's the thing that I found that worked the best for me, is to just do everything on my own. If I, you know, until I get to a point where I can't do it on my own, just do everything on my own, right? And so I got a lot of animals. I'm already just around the corner. Here in about 5 days, I'll be selling animals. You know, it snuck up on me. I didn't even notice what was going on, and I took a look at everything going on yesterday. And I've realized that I'm already 5 days away from starting to sell animals. And once I start selling animals, the big idea of selling animals is to sell 8 animals a week. And you know, I'm doing good. You know, maybe later today I'll give my animals their shots. These animals out here, they need their shots. You know, I'll go ahead and castrate them too. They all seem to have been calmed down enough to they won't freak out. They won't go freaking out real bad. So I'll give them their shots. I'll castrate them, and then starting this weekend, I'll be selling animals. And the big plan, the big idea plan from the very beginning was to sell 8 animals a month, right? 8 animals a month for $3,000 a month of net profit. But realistically, I'm probably gonna do about 4,000. I'm probably gonna do about 4,000. I'll probably end up doing about $50,000 a year of net profit. And I'm even considering upping the amount of cattle that I run, because I got 40 cattle on my field right now. I got 40 cattle on my farm right now, and it doesn't even look like I have any animals, right? I mean, my grass is still like 15 inches tall. My grass is still growing at a ballistic rate. You know, my animals are still conditioning very nicely. I'm you know, hardly using any money. I think I'm using something like $10-15 an animal a month, and you know, I'm improving the conditioning of my animal. My animals aren't you know, my animals are legitimately eating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and my grass is still 15 inches tall, 20 inches tall. Maybe I'll go up to 50, but I'll have to think about it. It's like, do I really want to put my, you know, do I really want to go, you know, balls to the wall for an extra, you know, $10,000 a year? I'll have to think about it. I'll have to think about it. But I mean, you know, it's not that big of a deal, right? I mean, you know, even if well, I mean, I'll have to think about it. But even right now, you know, I'm making about $50,000 a year objectively, right? I've always said money's objective. It does not matter what you think. You can sit there and, you know, sit there with a thumb up your butt and go, the whole time. But if I'm putting $4,000 a month into my bank account, then I'm putting $4,000 a month into my bank account, right? I mean, money's objective. It's not up for debate. And, you know, I'm doing real good for myself. I got a lot of animals that are, you know, ready for market, and that's it for me today, YouTube. Y'all have a good one.